Hey there, folks. Today I want to talk about the ebb and flow of creativity. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Seth. I'm a full-time fantasy author, and I make videos about being an author, and I hope you get some value out of this. You know, recently I've been feeling the ebb of creativity. In a lot of ways, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like creativity is just sort of drained out of my body. I just came out of a period of really intensive creative work. I wrote 2 books in about a month's period, which is honestly maybe too fast. I'm not sure yet. Both books came out really well, and they flowed really, really well. And throughout my entire life, this is how I have sort of pursued my own creative work in really intense bursts. I think about things for a really long time, and then I just sort of burst forward, full of creative energy, and I do whatever it is that I'm setting out to do. And so it comes as no surprise, at least to me, that this is also how I write. And when I say I write intently, that's exactly what I mean. There's no like write for a little bit, think for a little bit, write for a little bit. No, it's I get up in the morning at 4:45 and I start writing, and I don't end until 5 o'clock when my workday is done. And sometimes I'll even sneak back down to my computer to continue writing after that. In my perfect world, I would just have a hut somewhere where I could go and I would have all of my meals delivered and I would have somebody to do my laundry. And, actually, this is sort of the position that I'm in now. As I'm thinking about it, I don't have to worry about my laundry, and my wife cooks all my meals. She is wonderful, by the way. So that is pretty much what I have, right? I descend into my cave, and nobody bothers me as I just work and work and work and work. But the thing is that this kind of creativity comes at a cost. All of my ideas seem to just rush out all at once, imprinting themselves on the page. And when I'm done, I have work. I have a novel. I have something that I've created. And then afterwards, I'm left feeling sort of empty. And especially when I do this back to back, right, where I have multiple books that I'm working on in close proximity, what ends up happening is that I just wring myself dry. And so I have these periods where it's like the tide has gone out, leaving the seabed exposed. And I just feel like I can't muster up any of that creative juice. And this is normal. This is a normal thing. It's not a problem. It's not something that you need to fear, though I do find myself frustrated when I get into these positions because I'd really love to keep working. I'd really love to keep going. I don't want to stop. I'd love to be able to just write nonstop every day, all day. Like, that sounds so fun to me. But I can't. And instead, I have to respect the process. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't try to improve the process. Respecting the process doesn't mean that you can't adjust the process. It's sort of like the principle of conservation. If you are a conservationist and you believe that the environment should be taken seriously, then it's not simply about leaving it in an absolutely untouched state. It's about using it appropriately and using it in a way that will allow it to thrive and grow. And that's exactly what we want to do with our creativity. We want to use it in a way that's going to allow it to thrive and grow. One of the things that all of us need is exposure to the world. And so sitting in my cave, that's what I call my office. So sitting in my cave and just writing all the time, it's no wonder that I eventually run dry. It's no wonder that I eventually have trouble coming up with new ideas because I haven't been exposed to anything outside of this space that will allow me to make new and fresh connections in my mind. And that is really what is at the heart of creativity. It's this endless ability that humans have to make connections between things that just don't seem connected at first, but they are, or at least we can imagine them to be. And as we make these connections, we will find our hearts and our minds refilled with creativity. So when I'm in that position, what can I do? A big thing that I can do is I can read. I can engage with other people's stories. I can start to fill my mind with connections through somebody else's work. I can also go outside. You often hear the suggestion to go touch grass. Well, that's actually a really good suggestion. Things like hiking, taking walks, getting outside, breathing some fresh air, super important. Having some hobbies where you can engage with new material. But see, this is what's really important. Often as creatives, we get stuck in loops. And often as creatives, we don't introduce enough new stimulus into our lives. And instead, we get stuck watching the same things over and over and over again, the same kinds of stories, maybe even the same shows, or reading the same books, or engaging with the same people. Go sit at a coffee shop by yourself and make yourself talk to 3 new people. Go for a walk in a place you've never been. Spend some time getting lost with your phone turned off. Now, take your phone with you so you can turn it back on and not be lost once you're, done with your adventure. But the point is that you need new in your life. And so when I'm in these positions where I have shifted from high productivity, high creativity into this lull, the thing I do is just try to introduce new into my life. Because I know I'm going to get back. Right? And the reason you don't have to be afraid is because just as the sea has ebbed, it will come crashing back to shore. The waves don't stop. And sometimes the tide is low and sometimes the tide is high. And in both cases, it's okay. You just need to learn to live with yourself in both positions. And so that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do, at least. A lot of this is easier said than done. When I'm in this position of low creativity, it's really tempting to just be down on myself, to be frustrated. But instead, what I need to do is I need to forge forward and go out and explore. So if you're feeling like your creativity has been drained, that's what you should do. Go out and explore.